All right, good evening, Flames fans. Good evening, Game Over Calgary fans. Welcome to another tough post-game show, another tough post-game stretch here for the Calgary Flames, as they are now consecutively shut out 2 games in a row, and the Minnesota win this one by a score of 2-0. We'll talk about the goal summary in just a moment. We'll start talking about the loss against the Minnesota Wild. Sorry, apologies, my hard drive got disconnected for a moment. But we'll talk about the loss from the Minnesota Wild, how it has been a tough stretch for the Flames so far. Very difficult to generate offense. Very snooze fest of a game, if you want to call it. Just a 2 goal, and we'll touch on some points that I would like to bring up. This will probably be a short post-game analysis, nothing much to talk about. Lot of things going not the way of the Calgary Flames, and which is to be expected from the season start they have had. If you have any points, bringing it along. Invite your friends, invite everybody who's watching. Feel free to share your frustrations as we go through this one. But to say none the least, the Flames are not able to tackle this one and lose this by a score of 2-0. They lost against the Chicago Blackhawks as well, where Conrad had to do their post-game show. Lost that one by a score of 4-0, and then we head to St. Louis Blues on Tuesday, I believe that is. And no reprieve there as well. Of course, Minnesota Wild, they gave us horrors last season, where they knocked us out of the playoff spot, the wildcard spot we were looking for. And it has been a tough go since then. So let's do a quick goal scoring summary, get that out of the way quickly. Nothing for the Flames to report about. They did score 1 goal. That was Jonathan Huberdeau, who tried to do a shot, but then the officials waved it off right away. It was 15 seconds too late on a too many men penalty. Taking those unnecessary penalties costed them the game. That has been the theme of the season. So we'll start with the Minnesota Wild second period goal. Matt Boldy, assisted by Marcus Johansson, Joel Eriksson Ek, beat Devin Cooley using his 5-hole and scored that goal. We'll talk about Devin Cooley in just a moment's time. And in the third period, it was Kirill Kaprizov with an empty net goal assisted by Joel Eriksson and Matt Boldy. So all the 3 players getting the assist, and of course Marcus Johansson playing in his 1000th NHL game. I believe his silver stick ceremony will be sometime next week. And as Matsy says, back-to-back shutouts, this one by a backup goalie. And that was, sorry, I had this somewhere. Jesper Wallstad, 36 saves of all the shots. And the Flames massively outshot the opponent as well. But of course cannot find at the back of the net. Let's talk about a bit of the first period, what all went along. Braden Pahal, kudos to him. He's been in and out of the lineup, but he saved a goal for the team early in the first period today. And I think that was a good thing to look at positively. Connor Zary had a few good flashes this game, especially down at fourth center role. Of course, I know fourth center role is not the best fit for him. He can play elevated up above the line, but the best fit right now for him is the fourth line, of course. Coach Haska has to see it a different way. Is there potential we could move things around? I definitely want them to switch things around. If you're a team tank, you would be happy with this loss maybe, but this was boring to watch as well. Like, there was no part of entertainment Nobody showed efforts, and it's been the last two games that there were no efforts. Blackhawks we got undressed by Connor Bedard and the co against the Blackhawks, and today it was another snooze fest. What can change? What do they change? Do they call up like a Madway Gridden and spoil his tenure? But I feel like he should keep continuing killing the AHL. Maybe give Rory Cairns a run. But is there a point in that? Again, you don't want to kill anybody's offense. But this team's thriving, or I guess starving for offense. Not a good ideal place. Pahal and Kuznetsov as a defensive pairing was great tonight. They had few great looks. And man, Devin Cooley, since the preseason, I know he struggled during the preseason. There was no confidence in Devin Cooley. But the last few starts and the last few games he has got, salute to Devin Cooley. He has been stellar in all his stats, in all his performances. Got to give credit to Devin Cooley. And that was just what the first period was. Nothing much to report. Now the offense starving will continue. Zane Perek being out on IR. That was another headline I wanted to touch on. And it's not looking good for the Flames. I don't know if it can improve near future as well. We thought it was the October schedule that was tough to begin with. I know me and Conrad talked about it on a post-game show very recently. And Conrad, if you're listening, hello to you. Hello to everybody in the chat. But we talked about maybe the October schedule was tough. Starting from a back-to-back in Edmonton and then to Vancouver. And then games almost every other day. But this November, I think, has gotten off to a worse start, except for that 5-1 win against the Columbus Blue Jackets. In October, they were 2-10-0. And November, now they are 2-3-0 to start. It's going to get tough, for sure. We are going to face the likes of San Jose Sharks here real soon. Celebrini. We face Connor Bedard. All those first round picks. We saw the Colorado Avalanche tear up the Edmonton Oilers last night. And if you don't have those skilled players, you're always in trouble. And the trouble, I think, has just started for the Flames. I don't know if the Flames can now rescue this season at all. I think that evaluation period, I think we said about the US Thanksgiving. I think you might have to short down that trim. Look at maybe into the draft time now, where you search for Gavin McKenna. Hopefully you're the Flames fans watching this season. I hope you are ready for a long season. Unfortunately, it might be, to say the least. So the Minnesota Wild shut out the Calgary Flames by a score of 2-0 as we head to our second period. Taking a quick look at the chat, Lil Uzi Burt says, summary from the game, can't score, incessant penalties, terrible power play, and making a backup goalie a Vesna contender. Backup goalie for us, Devin Cooley was stellar. Let's take just a look at the stats for both these goaltenders tonight, if it's available for me. So Jake Wallstad with a 100 save percentage, saving all stops, and Cooley with a .944 save percentage. Fantastic from the goaltending. It's the goaltending that keeps us in the games. But then, like Lil said, those penalties. We'll talk about the penalty of too many men. Why would you do that? Why can't everybody be accountable for each other? Communication is so important in a game like hockey. And then we get towards the end. Their power play not helping at all. I know we are missing Zane Perek. He's on IR if you missed that news. That isn't good news for the Flames either. He'll miss at least a couple of weeks down the road. They've called up Daniel Mermanov, which maybe many fans won't take it easily. Mermanov may not play games as they have a solid pairing for right now. Maybe do you sit like someone like Viger? Viger hasn't been all that great. The only few consistent forwards I've seen from the Flames is Jonathan Huberdeau, Joel Farabee, Nazim Kadri. The rest, it's so difficult to watch. It's so tough. And I was just going to talk about Coronato, but glad Matsy brought it up. Coronato giving away a high-sticking penalty 3 seconds into a power play, sums up our season so far. And Coronato, I haven't liked his game at all. He had maybe 11 shots against the Chicago Blackhawks. Today he had 2 shots, but taking penalties, not living up to the expectation we had from last season. I think it's hurting the Flames. If he could have maybe improved the scoring a touch a little bit, if he were where he was at last season, this could be a different Flames. Of course, you can't just talk about one player. There is so many other. Backlund, he needs to get something going. Coleman was excellent in between, but he needs to get something going. Morgan Frost, small flashes here and there. Yegor Sharangovich needs to get going. Connor Zary as well. I know I talked about Connor Zary moments ago. Lil saying Viga trying so hard to make the Olympic team. He is doing things he's not known of doing. And it's hurting to the team exactly. Especially towards the end of the game, taking that penalty. Couple of turnovers. I know maybe that pressure is in him. He wants to make the team Canada. But it would be surprising if he doesn't end up on Team Canada because of these mistakes. And it cost the Flames as well. Little things mind-boggling because they keep the same roster almost from last season. And they talked about culture, the chemistry together. But nothing's been going the Flames' way this season. It's been real tough. What is the right turning point now? I wonder if I know they have shut down the Kadri trade talks, that Murray Edwards probably want to keep the same core group going. Does that turn around with this loss? We'll find out. They have one more road game. They have opened this 2-game road trip. This one against St. Louis Blues. Next one against St. Louis Blues, and then they are back at home. Is it possible there is a shine of light somewhere? Or are we going to target Gavin McKenna already? I know many fans are already targeting Flames are dead last in the NHL, 32nd. This game will drop again their shooting percentage, their forward stats, and all that. Once it's updated, we'll have updated numbers for you in the next podcast or next show that we do. Mac Coronato -1 today, Joel Farabee -1 today, Morgan Frost -1. Nazim Kadri unfortunately a -2 today. Joel Hanley a -1. Yegor Sharangovich -1. Mackenzie Weegar -2. And everybody else at 0 because we didn't score a goal. Especially if you have revenge against a team, I expected the Flames to come out strong. Revenge for knocking out the Flames off a wildcard spot in a tragic way. And we end the game tonight in a tragic way too, by not being able to score. And the tough stretch continues for the Flames. The Flames heavily outshot their opponent, the Minnesota Wild. But the story continues: scoring struggles, difficulty, whatever you want to blame. Flames fans, once again, I urge you to buckle up. This will be a long season ahead. Unless there is something they can change or fix, I don't see this improving. We know we have some underdog talent in some of these players, but how we can get them to show up is a question. The Flames were really buzzing in the first period, but then that too many men penalty to begin with. Coronato negating a power play. 3 seconds in, like Matt C said. I wonder many things about this team. So many questions to be asked. And Lil is saying, thanks for Lil looking up stats for me. After tonight, power play is now 32nd in the league, passing the idle New York Rangers. Power play is worst as well. We had Zane Perek at 1 point again, but I'll reiterate, no more Zane Perek for the next couple of weeks at least. Then we might see him go down to the AHL for a 2 week or 5 games conditioning stint, however long that is. So you are without Zane Perek all that long. And if he does go to World Juniors, it's another story in it all. I know the Team Canada management doesn't all that like Zane Perek, but Zane Perek is a crucial piece. I know he hasn't been that great offensively, but he makes the power play at least crisper passes, crisper entries, and that's what we want to see. I don't know if there is now even a fix with the power play now without Zane Perek. It's going to be a whole new problem for the Flames team to look at. They have to start looking at scoring. They have to look at power play now. They have to here and there look at penalty kill. But goaltending, man, I think they have that covered. That's the last of the worries. Devin Cooley, Dustin Wolf, all steal them games. Totally perfect with it. Happy with Jason LaBarbera, or however you pronounce his name. Kudos to the goaltending department. But the rest has to give somehow, at least give our fans to watch some exciting games, score 1 or 2 goals, Honzek had a few flashes today. I wouldn't complain about Honzek because he has been great. He has made a couple great plays. But what will it give for this Flames team to score? Alright, with that note, let's head into the third period. Keep your questions and thoughts coming into the YouTube chat. I'll be taking a look at it again once more towards the end of the fourth period and overtime. But let's look at the coming up schedule. We talked about the month of November could be an entertaining one. It hasn't gotten to that point yet. If you want to talk about that Blue Jackets Columbus game, Nazim Kadri's 1000th NHL game where they came up scoring 5-1. Can we have another 1000th NHL goal game for Nazim Kadri? Can we keep celebrating it every day? Or maybe give the credit to someone, anybody else, 1000 game, just for the fun of it? Or can we just create a milestone? Make it the Flames fans day, fans experience. Maybe make it Flames party day, whatever. Make sure there is an after game party. Will that improve stuff? We'll find out. But let's take the look at the schedule. They have a day off tomorrow, so they won't be in action tomorrow. Then on Tuesday, they play the St. Louis Blues on the road. It's a 6 p.m. puck drop. Then a day break. Then they come back home. We take on the Monumental, Celebrinish and the San Jose Sharks. 7 p.m. puck drop at home. Then a day break. Then Winnipeg Jets at home. You know how that's going to go. And that's a look at a week. So St. Louis Blues, San Jose Sharks, Winnipeg Jets. If only the easy team to count in this one is probably the San Jose Sharks. But they haven't been in a hot streak. Let's take a look at the NHL standings and the scores tonight as well. So the Sharks is 5th in the Pacific Division, 17 points. Flames are oddly just 5 points or 7 points behind them. Let's see, did the Sharks play today? San Jose Sharks. No, Sharks didn't play today, but they played on Friday. They defeated the Winnipeg Jets by a score of 2-1. They played yesterday. They defeated the Florida Panthers by a score of 3-1. They played on Friday as well, defeated the Jets by a score of 2-1. So if the Flames can't get by Sharks, put it as a close to the curtain on the season. I would say that's a fair estimate timeline. Because something's got to give. And as Lil says, if the Flames don't win against the Blues or the Sharks this week, then they got to tank the rest of the season. I think the tank is already in command, Lil. But I think you have the right timeline. The media has been talking about November Thanksgiving. But I think if this doesn't turn around, I think it's time to close the season early, like I mentioned earlier. Flames hopefully this season are lucky to get McKenna. Or maybe I think his name was Stenberg or Carter Verhoff. I think the best out of it is Gavin McKenna, of course. Please, hockey gods, help us with the top round pick. We need that elite talent. The Flames have a good draft cupboard already. They have a good player in Zane Perek. They have a good goaltender in Dustin Wolf. They could have forward in terms of Cole Rashnik, Cullen Potter. We'll have to see what their potentials are. And in all that, it's going to be a tough one. Just ride it through the season. Believe that the Flames can get us a first overall pick, the search we are looking for. And then by the time the Scotia place opens, we ought to be lucky. I think with that note, with the way I have ranted so far, let's hit the chat line for the final time this evening. Thank you all so much for joining another tough post-game show for the Flames. They lose this one by a score of 2-0 against the Minnesota Wild. Let's do a quick recap of what I talked about so you can catch it later on our podcast feed. But we talked about Braden Pahal. He helped save the goal. Otherwise, it could have easily been 3-0. Congratulations to Mark Johansson for the Minnesota Wild, who will play his 1000th NHL game. Zari had some good looks tonight at fourth center role. Could we elevate him up a bit in the near future games? Pahal could snatch over worked really well tonight. Cooley was amazing, no doubt. I think if I were the Flames, I would put him against St. Louis Blues again on Tuesday. But I'm not the Flames. I don't decide that. We'll let the Flames decide that. What else? Jonathan Huberdeau had a 2-0 chance. Couldn't score on that. Then shortly after that, they take a delay penalty, too many men, ice on the call. That shifts all the momentum. Coronado has had a tough start to the season. Not what we expected from him at all. And the Flames this season 2-10-0 in October, and now to start the November 2-3-0 despite the lighter schedule from what they faced from the beginning of the season. And we hope maybe there is a positive twist. Cooley versus Blues, Wolf versus Sharks is what Lil will do. I think that's a fair assessment. Give Cooley more starts, more confidence. And you need definitely a way to win. And I think Dustin Wolf will get you that as well. So back at home against Dustin Wolf, and Askarov, I believe, is the Sharks goaltender. And I think that's the way to go. Of course, Lil, we don't get to decide what they do. The Flames decides what they do. All right, let's go through the chats quickly. Greg Burke says, so when's this game started? It was a 6 p.m. puck drop. And we are wrapping up our post-game show here soon. Matt C says, if it's broke, don't fix it. I think it's the common term is if you win, you don't fix anything or don't change anything. But if it's broke, I think it's time to change something. But we'll see what the Flames do. Matt C says, back-to-back shutouts. This one by a backup goaltender. Yeah, I didn't hear of this goaltender as much coming into this game. And see, lucky one, shutout, of course. The nightmare with the backup goaltenders continue for the Flames. Lil says, summary from the game, can't score, incessant penalties, terrible power play, and making a backup goalie win a Western contender. Certainly. Can't score, we talked about that, got shut out. Terrible power play, didn't score on the power play. And making a backup goalie become a Western contender, 100%. Coronado giving away a high-stake penalty, 3 seconds into a power play, sums up our season so far. Viga trying so hard to make the Olympic team. He's doing things he's not known of, and it's hurting the team, 100%. After tonight's power play, the Flames sit at 32nd in the league in power play. passing the idle New York Rangers. Yeah, New York Rangers have not had a start to the season, great start to the season, but I believe they're making a comeback, a run back. If the Flames don't win against the Blues or Sharks this week, then they got to tank the rest of the season. And Cooley versus Blues and Wolves versus Sharks is what Lil would do. And I think that sums up our post-game show. That's it about for all the chats we have. Thank you to Lil for hanging out with us. Thanks to Matt C and Greg as well popping in earlier. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for spending this Sunday evening with us. I believe I'll be back. No, actually I think, looking at programming note, Conrad will be back. I believe Conrad will have a special guest, so I'll not spoil that surprise for Conrad. I'll let him take over that. And then we take on the San Jose Sharks after that. So it's Blue Sharks and Jets for the next couple of games. We'll get that covered for you right here on Game Over Calgary. Have yourself a great rest of your weekend. Have a good night. And see you all again soon. Till then, you are watching Game Over Calgary right here on YouTube.